Welcome to Table Talk here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, over 13 years strong. As always, we got a great Table Talk show, an interview, a great discussion coming your way this week. We're going to be diving into the world of women's basketball, both from an NBA perspective, college basketball experience as well, but the experience from an online experience, and specifically with a brand new site and an app called BackcourtIQ. And with us is our good friend. Her and her co-founder were on the show a few months back, but they've launched everything. I wanted to bring her back just to talk about this more and get the word out more. We've got our good friend, Alyssa Freda. Thanks so much for joining us, Alyssa.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks so much for having us. We're very happy to be here and excited to dive in.
Absolutely. Look, you've done a great job thus far. And I remember our conversation earlier this year about what you were hoping to do with Backcourt IQ. And again, folks, head on over to BackcourtIQ.com. Great platform. And we're going to be talking about this platform. I mean, this is the digital home of women's basketball, both professionally and college basketball as well. And when you were on before, we had discussed how women's basketball has really grown in terms of its audience. So I'm hoping we can get the conversation started by talking about how you want to correlate Backcourt IQ with the growth of women's basketball. What does that look like to you?
Yeah, I think, as different leagues start popping up, we're seeing Upshot and, AU, all these different leagues, international. We want to be growing right alongside them. So as they're popping up, as they're gaining popularity, we want to also be supporting that and just providing that visibility, extra visibility, so that people know, okay, there's other games going on right now. Like, yes, it's amazing that we have the WNBA on, but there's also an Upshot game happening right now. So just really to bring everything together into one place where the word is out about all different leagues, all different players everywhere.
Yeah, it because of the growth of women's basketball as well. And again, we talked about it when you were on before. It's not just Caitlin Clark that has done wonders for the game. It's been growing ever since, she really came onto the scene. There are so many female basketball athletes that have really helped to take, whether it's WNBA or whether it's I love watching women's college basketball because of the product. It's so good. It's just fun to watch. It's a lot more fun to watch than men's college basketball, in my personal opinion. And, what you want to do at Backcourt IQ is really highlight that aspect of it. And to get into the different platforms that you have generated and created and how they can actually be useful and what they're going to end up giving fans of women's basketball, I'm hoping we can get into that a little bit more here. So there's the website, Backcourt IQ. And you can also, folks, if you can go to, it's not only on the Apple App Store as well, but where else can folks find that, Alyssa?
Yeah, so actually we are still launching. We haven't launched to the App Store yet, but that will be coming. Okay. That a little extra excited there. But we will be launching that very soon this month. We plan to do it before All-Star Weekend, so we're super excited for that. But you can find it on the web. We are going to have the iOS version, and then we're also going to have Android. That's just coming a little bit later.
Yep. All right. So let's get into these platforms and what folks will be experiencing. I'm wondering, how did you decide on what information would be front and center on the website? Because, when you go to backcourtiq.com, there's a lot of stuff there. How did you guys decide? Guys, I'm sorry, I always say guys. How did you ladies decide on what information would be front and center on the website there?
Yeah, so my mind kind of works in buckets. I like to have pretty nicely organized. And so we decided to have a homepage where we had everything, but just bits and pieces of everything. So it was like a main page where you could get to all these different things with a summary of your favorite teams, your favorite players, what games are on right now, what games are happening. We wanted that to be front and center, so that's exactly where people's eyes went if they didn't know there was a game on, or they just wanted to watch some basketball. And then as we started to go through, we realized there's other apps out there that have the analytics, or they have the community, or it's a support but there's something that really had them all in one place. And so we wanted to really emphasize that community aspect. And obviously, it's not just community. We also have, all the game information, player information, anything you could need is on the app. But the community is what keeps people coming back. And so really, the last 2 weeks, we really prioritize building that out and making it a place where people can come and post if they're playing a pickup game, if they are looking for training, if they're hosting a watch party. Like, we have created all of these different avenues on the app for people to come together, and we've got a section for women's sports bars, and you choose your city and it helps you find that. So that's
awesome.
been really exciting, kind of growing the community aspect. And another feature that we're really excited for is this creator marketplace that we've got. And so we found so many amazing independent creators who create merch or content. Someone makes amazing keychains of player jerseys and things like that. So just amazing art, beautiful work. But you don't always know about it if you're not in those specific pockets of community. Like Threads is a place right now where the women's basketball community is huge.
Yeah.
But if you're not on there, you might not know about these creators. And so putting them on the platform where it kind of links out to what they're doing, their work, anything they want, truly, they get to create a profile. But it's, again, to bring visibility, not just to players, not just to the game, but then to the creators who are also, designing and creating all this amazing work that the community is looking for and has been looking for. They don't want the generic shirts that you can find anywhere. We have creators who are just creating the most insane merch. I wear it all the time, all around, and everyone is always complimenting it and asking who made it. And so that's been really cool.
Yeah, it's a really good segue into a thought that I've recently had, not just in terms of, getting ready to talk to you about BackcourtIQ.com and your endeavor, but, so many different content creators, individuals in the online world, online space, podcasters, bloggers, even. Success looks differently to everyone. And in terms of, unfortunately, what analytics are, what numbers are, things like that. I honestly don't get into the analytics of this podcast platform. I remember so many years ago when I started this podcast, somebody said, if you start looking into analytics of downloads and where people are listening, blah, 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 you are going to lose your passion for your podcast and why you are talking about what you want to talk about. And with regard to website creation and creating that community, like, I wonder, what does success look like when it comes to community engagement for you with regard to Backcourt IQ?
Yeah, honestly, for me, it would be me logging into the app and just seeing a ton of events being posted, people actually using it, and maybe tagging on social media and seeing that they're at events that were put on the app. That is exactly what success looks like. I would love to just see everybody engaging and having meaningful dialogue, because there's also, a place where you can just talk and people can jump in and comment.
Yeah.
Like that, seeing that be active that's the dream come true. So
yeah.
we're definitely excited for that.
Why was it important also to build an app that complemented the website as well? Because BackcourtIQ.com, great website, but why did you all want that app, you and your co-founder, why did you want that app to complement the website?
Yeah, Kristen and I, we were really adamant that this would always be become an app. And just thinking about user experience and the likelihood of someone, pulling their phone out and just going right into the app. It's already logged in with everything, all your info, and just quickly checking a score versus having to go onto the website and re-sign in and all of this.
Yeah.
It creates a different user experience. And we wanted it to feel just easier to access and to kind of become that go-to app. Like for me, despite the fact that it is still on the website, I have trained myself, if I want to know what a score is, I go to the app, even though it does take signing in and looking. For me, that it's important that we're using it and we're getting a good feel for it. But yeah, it's going to change the entire user experience. And we brought on an amazing UX developer, a very good friend of mine, and she has transformed it. It looks so beautiful on the web and on the iOS app that we've been able to see during our testing. And yeah, she's just worked some magic. So I think the user experience is going to be really elevated.
And I'm wondering if there has been a feature on the app itself too, like especially, you know, once we are able to get it on iOS, because, and I ask this because the website experience for these type of community experiences, they're so much different than apps and websites. They just differ here. And I'm sorry about the word salad, folks, right there. But I mean, I'm wondering if there has been a feature on the app that was more difficult to build and develop than maybe you thought, because this stuff isn't easy to do at all. I mean, was there an aspect that was a little bit more difficult in terms of the app?
Oh, for sure. I think the most time was probably spent on either the analytics, which Kristen has done just an incredible job. I cannot wait for everyone to see it. The visuals she's created, that has been very time intensive and honestly a labor of love for her. She loves to do it and it shows. But I think also the community page, that took a lot of kind of like wiring to make sure that everything flows well, that you can comment, that you can like, that you can delete things, like all these little things that like I didn't originally think about.
Yeah.
When we're building, it's like, oh wait, now this is built, but actually we need to add this and this, and all these things start popping up. And how do we make it connective? And just beyond just functionality, how do we make this something that people actually want to use? And so more of that strategic lens as well, to kind of increase user engagement and make sure it actually is a community that gets used.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, folks, we're going to go to break here. But before we do, again, Alyssa, tell everybody where they can find BackcourtIQ, of course, BackcourtIQ.com, but where they can follow you all on socials out there if they want to learn more.
Yeah, BackcourtIQ on Instagram. It's just our name. And we're also on Threads with that same account. And we're very active on Threads. We have a really great community there. If you love women's basketball, you've got to be on Threads because it's just where it is.
It's where it's at. Yep, yeah. Absolutely. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Alyssa more, not only about BackcourtIQ.com and their endeavor, but also some women's basketball. I want to talk about that as well. A couple topics there. Stick around. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, we're back with our good friend Alyssa Freda from BackcourtIQ.com as we're moving along with a conversation here. You know, I think a lot of us go to certain websites, Alyssa, and more sports-based websites out of kind of what I'd like to call passive consumption of that particular content. And I'm wondering how you're planning on encouraging people to actually interact, to actually become part of that community rather than just relying on the passive consumption aspect of what many sports websites actually are. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, so more of a recent development, we decided to create profiles and the ability to, link to different things and have a profile picture and actually follow others. That was not originally part of the plan.
Okay.
And so we added that in. And then the live chats that we have for each game, that is a place where we really think a lot of engagement can come from and people will actually want to stay for it. We've been thinking through having, different creators maybe host a chat or post comments. We have an amazing brand ambassador. And so having her be engaged on it, for us, it's evolving. Even like we just keep thinking of new things that we can add and like the coming launches, but
and that's okay, by the way. Like that's okay. We've been doing this podcast show for 13 years. We got to a point on year 12 where we were like, you know what? We should probably go to video as well. The product, it evolves, you expand it here and there, you get rid of some things here and there, and it's okay. It really is at the end of the day, because we evolve as people, we progress as people, and the things that we like to follow, things change over time. So I'm just like, it is perfectly cool to just, alter course every now and again.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's even crucial to just to, make sure the app is still providing the community with what it needs, what it wants. We're part of that community. So we definitely have that kind of like insider
Yeah.
view of it and of what we're currently missing as a women's basketball community. But yeah, always changing, always thinking of what comes next and what we can create that maybe just hasn't even been done at all before,
Right.
while also trying to stay really present in the fact that this is probably the most exciting thing I have ever worked on and been a part of, and I'm sure Kristen feels the same. It's just, yeah, so being in the moment, but also, yeah, we've got a lot coming up.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move into some women's basketball talk because honestly, we don't get into it enough on this podcast platform. And seriously, I can slap myself in the face because of that. I probably should, because I love women's college basketball. It's fantastic. But I'm wondering, as I mentioned at the top, just the growth of women's basketball. I'm wondering, and I know it's a general question, but which levels of the game do you think are growing the fastest? Is it the WNBA? Is it college basketball, or even international recruiting as well? What levels are growing the fastest, do you think, and why?
Yeah, I think obviously we have the WNBA's growth, incredible expansion teams. Like
I can't wait for Phillies in 2030. By the way, like
I can't wait for that
can't
too.
Wait. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of growth there. Obviously unrivaled. It just continues to grow, and it's one of the most exciting leagues to watch. But I think what's not talked about enough is the international game and recruitment from there, not just for the pros, but also in college we're seeing a lot. And so that's been pretty exciting. And just the talent from overseas that now that, for the WNBA specifically, we've got a new CBA agreement. We've got all these different aspects that are going to bring people here versus before it was sending players from the US abroad for better opportunities. So I think that new agreement has really contributed, and the change in pay and all of that comes with it. It's definitely incentivized more people to come play here, which is great. And also I think just the expansion and the fact that we have these expansion teams, more spots open up, more spots for players.
Yep.
And I mean, the talent is just incredible.
It is. It absolutely is. And before I let you go, before we end our discussion here, just, getting into this WNBA season, hoping we can really talk about that next generation of stars that are really raising your eyebrow during this 2026 season here. I'm wondering, which players are you really high on, thinking that they are going to be able to take not only their game, but the brand of the NBA to the next level, whether it's this season, maybe future seasons. Which players are you really high on here, Alyssa?
Yeah. Okay. So just looking specifically at rookies right now, obviously AZ Fudd, she's incredible. Yeah. Her game is not talked about enough, is not appreciated enough. It's all the little things. I mean, her defense is incredible. Her shooting, like, truly every aspect of her game is awesome. And I think that she's really going to step into that even more as she grows in the league and is in the league longer. So really excited to see where she goes. I believe she's a generational player. And so excited to see that. Obviously cannot not speak about, that was also a word salad, but have to talk about Olivia Miles. I knew she would be great, and she's the way she can handle the ball and make plays, her court vision, like everything. It's just, she's crafty, and I think she's doing amazing with the Lynx. Obviously she's got a great coach to learn from, great teammates, all of that. So I'm really excited to see where she goes. And then I want to think of one that's maybe not talked about as much.
Okay.
I've been watching Sydney Taylor recently,
all right.
and she was not on my radar, but she is really showing out. She's giving Chicago really solid minutes, and I think she's going to be one to watch. So excited to watch her growth.
She's got 12.2 points per game, 1.3 assists, 1.3 rebounds per game. Sleeper for sure, I think, especially with those stats. Absolutely. Yeah. Folks, she is Alyssa Freda from BackcourtIQ. BackcourtIQ.com. It was great talking to you, my friend. It really was. I loved the conversation. Like I said, we don't get into women's basketball enough on this podcast platform. I'd love to have you back on. Let's talk more women's basketball in the future. I'd absolutely love that.
Anytime. I would absolutely love that.